The story of English literature begins with a Germanic tradition of the Anglo-Saxon settlers. Anglo-Saxon is now more usually described as Old English. Their literature began with spoken words and incantations. Their most famous heroic poem is Beowulf. Another great prose work from this time is the Anglo-Saxon Chronicles. The most significant turning point in about 1100s is the development of Middle English, differing from Old English in the addition of a French vocabulary after the Norman conquest. Piers Plowman and Sir Gawain are masterpieces which look back to Middle English, which ushers in a new era of English literature. Geoffrey Chaucer was one of the greatest poets of the late Middle Ages. He has often been called the father of English poetry. His best works are the Troilus and Cresside and the Canterbury Tales. The Canterbury Tales is a collection of 24 stories that runs to over 17,000 lines written in Middle English. It is one of the most important works in English literature. Edmund Spenser. He has the greatest lyric gift of any English poet in the 2 centuries since Chaucer. He is best known for The Faerie Queene, an epic poem and fantastical allegory celebrating the Tudor dynasty and Elizabeth I. The year 1564 sees the birth of 2 poets, Marlowe and Shakespeare, who between them launched the English theatre into the 3 decades of its greatest glory. Christopher Marlowe's first play acted with great success in 1587. It is an event of profound significance in the story of English theatre. His work, Tamburlaine the Great, introduces the supple and swaggering strain of blank verse, which becomes the medium for all the glories of Elizabethan and Jacobean drama. William Shakespeare, father of English drama, the Bard of Avon. He has come to be seen as not only a great English playwright, but a greatest playwright in the English language. Shakespeare wrote the famous 154 sonnets and numerous highly successful oft-quoted dramatic works. And his Romeo and Juliet may be the most filmed play of all time.
Oh then, dear saint, let lips do what hands do. They pray, grant thou, lest faith turn to despair.
Saints do not move. They'll grant for prayer's sake.
Then move not. While my prayer's effect I take. Thus, from my lips, by thine, my sin is purged.
Then have my lips a sin that they have took?
Sin from my lips? Oh, trespass sweetly urged. Give me my sin again.
Benjamin Jonson. He is generally regarded as the second most important English playwright during the reign of James I after William Shakespeare. He popularized the comedy of humors. He is best known for the satirical plays such as England's metaphysical poets. The earliest of the group and chief of the metaphysical poets is John Donne. He was the most outstanding of the English metaphysical poets and a churchman, famous for his spellbinding sermons. He is often considered the greatest love poet in the English language. Donne's principal literary accomplishments during this period were divine poems and the prose work by Athanatos. The other metaphysical poets are The persecution of nonconformists caused one of England's best-loved works of literature to be written. In many households in the 18th century, there is only one book other than the Bible. It is The Pilgrim's Progress, written by John Bunyan, an English writer and Baptist preacher. Literary life in England flourishes so impressively in the early years of the 18th century. The new Augustan age becomes identified with the reign of Queen Anne, though the spirit of the age extends well beyond her death. The oldest of the Augustan authors, Jonathan Swift, first makes his mark in 1704 with a Battle of the Books and A Tale of a Tub. Swift is also known for Gulliver's Travels. The same year sees the debut of the youngest and most brilliant of the set of writers, Alexander Pope. He is known for his brilliant essay on criticism in a miniature masterpiece of mock heroic, The Rape of the Lock. Daniel Defoe, an English trader, a prolific and versatile writer, journalist, pamphleteer, and spy, also a pioneer of economic journalism. The True-Born Englishman is his most successful poem. Defoe is also most famous for his novel Robinson Crusoe in 1719, which is adapted in a lot of films and even in cartoons this 2016.
Come on everyone, we got them surrounded! Attack! Yee-haw! Get ready for the wild. Hang on, Crusoe! Wasn't so bad. Get ready for the wildlife! The wildlife.
During a quarter of a century, from 1740, the novel makes great advances in England, with notable achievements in several different styles. Two of the influential authors from that period are Samuel Richardson. He wrote the novel Pamela in 1740, and Henry Fielding, who wrote Tom Jones in 1749. The most original novel of the 18th century and one of the most chaotically enduring books of any age is Tristram Shandy by Lawrence Sterne. During the second half of the 18th century, Scotland is in the forefront of intellectual and scientific developments, the movement now known as the Scottish Enlightenment. The founding figure can be said to be the philosopher David Hume. Then comes Romanticism. The first of the Romantic authors is William Blake, a self-taught engraver and visionary poet who published the Songs of Innocence in 1789. Jane Austen, the most important novelist of the Romantic period. Of all her excellent novels, the most popular of Austen's works, as well as being her personal favorite, is Pride and Prejudice.
You are too generous to trifle with me. I believe you spoke with my aunt last night, and it has taught me to hope, as I'd scarcely allowed myself before. If your feelings are still what they were last April, tell me so at once. My affections and wishes have not changed, but one word from you will silence me forever. If, however, your feelings have changed, I would have to tell you. You have bewitched me, body and soul, and I love and love and love you. I never wish to be parted from you from this day on.
whimsical.
In the first 2 decades of the 19th century, a second generation of Romantic writers emerges, led by George Gordon Byron, John Keats, and Percy Bysshe Shelley. These are some of the authors and their masterpieces that have played a big part in the beginning of English literature.